Well, good morning. Alright, this is take two on building our 127 degree hole circle fixture for building 127 tooth gears. Released a video yesterday, had my head in my ass. That was completely wrong. You guys that pointed it out to me, I appreciate you pointing it out. I appreciate you sticking with me. I was sure that I had it figured out, but I was completely wrong. The theory is the same. The way I'm going to set it up right now, and I'm over here at the mill. The only difference is my disc, my index disc, for whatever reason I was thinking I could use it as direct indexing before my gearing on the rotary table. That gearing has to be, or it has to be after the gearing on the rotary tables. So this is still really a pretty simple process. What I've done is I just took a piece of scrap plate that I had, aluminum. I've roughed out a circle and I've got it clamped down to the table. I found center on it and I just plumbed a bolt circle into the digital readout. So I'm just going to drill these with a center drill and try and get the holes at least started and get a little bevel on them, and then I'll probably have to go back and run the bolt circle a second time to drill on down so I've got the proper size for an index pin to sit in. So we'll show you part of that. I'll fast forward through it, probably a lot of it, and we'll just see if we can't actually make this work the way it's supposed to. Alright, so there's our bolt circle. Looks like it came out evenly spaced and everything. Now I center drilled those, which gave me a point to drill on in a countersink. They're still not quite big enough to accept the index pin. So I'm going to go around that one more time with the appropriate size drill bit. And we'll run that bolt circle again. That'll just verify everything's where it's supposed to be, although it looks really good. Then I will go back off our center point. I want to run two more bolt patterns with 4 holes each. There'll be 4 on the outside at 90-degree angles to bolt down onto the T-slots of the table, and then there'll be 4 for the small 4-jaw chuck that I've got to mount that on there. Alright, well, I'm still working on the fixturing for the index plate for building gears for that 127 tooth gear, but what I've done is I've just got one of my little cast angle plates set up here, and I'm just decking it off. I've already faced the back side. I had it set up the same way, got a couple machinist jacks on each side because we've got a support brace in the middle, and I put a couple pieces of aluminum rod in behind to take up the irregularities. Went ahead and decked off the top, which is now facing the back of the vise, and we're just going to deck off this one. And then I got a couple little machining operations to do on this, and since I'm dedicating it to this fixture, I may cut this down a little bit more, but it was pretty simple, quick and easy. Okay, I could run another pass across there because I still got an inclusion, but it doesn't matter. This is going to be on the back side. Doesn't make a bit of difference. I've got a flat surface here for any machining operations I want. So all this is a mount for the index pointer to index off my index wheels here. So there's my little machinist jacks. What's going to happen with this, there's our little angle plate. So what's going to happen with this is it's going to be set on one T-slot on the table. I'll bolt it down to it into the T-slot with a T-nut on the bottom and one bolt down through here. And then we're going to mount our index pointer on this inside of this. I'll probably cut this part of it away because we don't need that. And this will stay with the rotary table. So I'm going to go ahead, cut out a little pocket around there to index on the pin. So the way this will actually mount is this index mount is going to sit on here just like this. And we're going to have a little bit of adjustment in here so that I can adjust it up and down, and this will just index into our wheels on the front of the rotary table. So, well, here's pretty much my final rendition of my 127 tooth index plate. Now we've got it right. I have no doubt what this will work. Now, I don't have the index plate zeroed out, so it's not 100% where it needs to be. It's within, half a thou or so. But when I actually get ready to set this up for a project, well, I will dial it in with the dial indicator. Outer diameters concentric with our hole spacing and with our chuck. So, and what I did was I did basically the same thing the rotary table originally came with, which was an aluminum mounting plate with a 4-jaw chuck on it, but it was a scroll chuck. And it's this one right here. So what I've done is I've just built a bigger index plate, so I've got more room for holes around the outer edge, and this is just about as big as I can get. I don't remember what the dimensions are on this. But anyway, centered the chuck up on it, drilled it. I've got mounting bolts here, and there's still going to be little tweaks on this. These bolts are too long. They're set up for this one. So I'll build another set of clamp bolts for the table itself, and then when I do, well, like I say, we can zero out this, we can zero out the chuck. But with an independent chuck, I can zero that out too, independent of my hole circle. Now, to index off of the holes, I took the spring-loaded plunger that goes with the sector that would normally mount out here, which was my original screw-up. For whatever reason, I wasn't thinking right when I planned that out, but anyway, we've got it right now. So, drilled these holes. We saw that on off of the digital readout, and the way it's going to index up, I took one of my angle plates, we squared it up here, mounted it, so I've got a little bit of adjustment here, I've got a little bit of adjustment on the table for when I set it up. But for all intents and purposes, now the machine with the index head and with the rotary table and the index pin is all one unit. So to index up through it, we'll mount our tailstock out here, mount our gear blank on a mandrel, And then to advance it, just bring it up out of the one hole. It'll drop into the next one. Cut our gear, pull it out. It drops into the next one. And of course we'll lock the table between each movement so we get consistent positioning. And as long as we're continuing to turn it in the right direction and just let it drop into its position, why we're going to end up with a 127 tooth gear. So that's the plan. We'll see how she works out. And I made it a pretty snug fit on that pin, so we won't have much consistency. And like I say, as long as it's preloading the same way every time, it's going to give a consistent result. So I'm going to call this a success. I still don't have gear cutters. I don't have a blank cast for a 127 tooth gear yet, but when we get those in, well, I will shoot some video of that and we'll show us cutting the gear. I've got to cast the gear blank too while we're going. But by the time you see it, why we'll probably take this bracket and go ahead and clean it up a little bit more and probably powder coat it black to match the rest of the rotary table, because this is what it goes to, and going to work just that well. So I'm really happy with it. I think it's going to work fine after my first little bobble with this. But you know, I could have cut this gear blank on the CNC, and I had somebody that said they'd like to see that. I may go back and cut one that way, or cut a different gear blank that way, and show that. But the process is the same either way, you know. And the digital readout on this mill gave a real nice, consistent hole circle. I've checked it all out and checked dimensions and everything, and I'm very, very pleased with it. And this was one of my little castings for a table. We whittled away everything that didn't look like a mounting bracket for this, and there we go. We've got some adjustment up and down in here, and then we've got adjustment here. So like I say, next time you see this all set up, why, it'll probably be smoothed out and painted, and everything will be good to go. I appreciate all of you guys that hung around after I wasted your time with this last video that I've already pulled down because it was wrong. So anyway, hopefully you find this interesting. Comments, suggestions, leave them in the comment section for me below, guys. And as always, thanks for taking the time to watch.